going to play a matching game for matching the properties from algebra, the arithmetic properties. And I've kind of set it up here with most of the ones we've talked about in class, and I'm going to use a red marker to try to connect each property to an instance of it on the right in the green. So if you need to review what these actually mean, you might need to look at another video, but here we're just going to work on the application of trying to match them together. So I'll go through an order on the left-hand side for this half, and then we'll do the other half on the other side. So commutative property of multiplication would be the one that says that multiplication, we don't care about the order in which we multiply. So that is going to connect to this property right here. 7 times 8 equals 8 times 7. The order of multiplication is non-important. Okay, commutative property of addition then is going to say that the order of addition is not going to be important. The order that we add in is not going to be important. So that one's going to connect here to 2 plus 3 equals 3 plus 2. The associative property is going to be the one where you associate or you group in different ways. So where the parentheses don't matter as long as you're doing one particular operation. So the first one says the associative property of multiplication. Let's change to orange just to distinguish a little bit. So multiplication, parentheses are unimportant, is going to be the one that is up here. 3 multiplied by 5 times 2 equals 3 times 5 multiplied by 2. And then the associative property of addition is going to be the one that does the same kind of idea but with adding instead of multiplying. So that's going to be the one that's down here, of course. 1 plus 2 plus 3 is the same as 1 plus 2 plus 3. Okay, next up, let's take another color. Let's say black. Identity property of multiplication is going to be the property of what do you multiply by to keep things the same. So of course the special number we multiply by to keep things the same is the number 1. So we're going to connect the identity property of multiplication with this one here, which says 5 times 1 equals 5. And for addition, what's the special number? It wouldn't be 1 anymore, now it would be the number 0. So we will connect the identity property down to here, where we have 7 plus 0 stays as 7. Okay, let's go back to red. Yellow doesn't show up too well on here. So back to red. The inverse property for multiplication is what do we multiply by to get us the identity of 1? Well, that would be multiplication by the reciprocal. So we will connect the inverse property of multiplication with this one. It says 5 times by 1/5 equals 1. And therefore the addition, or the inverse property for addition, is going to be what do you add by in order to get to your identity in addition, which is 0. And that's going to connect right here, because 6 added to the opposite of 6 is what yields 0. Okay, only 2 left to go. Multiplication property of 0 is the Terminator. It's the one that takes, it says that any number multiplied by 0 yields 0. So an instance of that would be way back up to the top here, where we say 7 times 0 is equal to 0. And by elimination, there's only one left, the distributive property, one of the most famous properties we have, and it associates multiplication together with addition. So it's going to connect right there, where we say 5 multiplied by 2 plus x equals 5 times 2 plus 5 times x. So lots of properties. I'm sorry, got a little convoluted in there, but why don't you pause the video, try this list on your own. I mixed up the names of the properties and the properties on the right also, and the instances of the properties. So see if you can try this on your own, and let's do it together to see how many you got right here. So I will use the red, and I'll start on the right this time. So as I look at the first property on the right, it looks like I am reorganizing the parentheses with addition. So hopefully remember that's the associative property of addition. The next one says 5 multiplied by 1 is 5. So that means 1 is our special identity number. It keeps things identical. So I'm looking for identity property of multiplication, and there we go. Next, 7 plus 0 equals 7 means that we're adding on the special number that keeps things the same. So that's an identity property for the addition here. That's going to connect there. And then we have 6 multiplied by the reciprocal of 6, which is 1/6 equals 1. That's an inverse property related to multiplication. And so we're going to connect down to there. Okay, next let's look at 3 multiplied by 2 times 1 is 3 times 2 times 1. So that's moving around the parentheses with the multiplication. So that's associative multiplication. Nice, that's really close to it. Then we have our famous distributive property, right? 7 times 3 plus x, 7 times 3, 7 times x. So where's distributive? Oh, it's right across from it too. Okay, next up is the 5 added to the opposite of 5 yields 0. So that's an inverse property. That one's for addition this time. We saw multiplication earlier with the reciprocal. Then we have the order of addition is inconsequential. So that's commutative property on addition. Commutative property on addition. Oh, there it is. It got snuck by right in there. Then we have 3 times 9 equals 9 times 3. That's commutative property also, but this time it's on the multiplication. And it looks like our very last one is the Terminator again. 12 times 0 equals 0. So we're going to take that and connect it with the multiplication property of 0, which is right near the top.